Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? All right. So, sorry about the hiccup there. Turns out I can't actually see the stream when I go onto Discord through my PC. So we're just gonna have to do it with the inferior audio on my cell phone. I apologize about that, though. All right. So looks like we're going to be getting ready for race between Mirai and Elendar, or Mirai. I guess that's the way he likes to say it. Both very good racers, and it looks like it's going to be a fairly typical set of flags. We're going to be having some of the new features for the randomizer, and of course a lot of the old ones. So starting with Candle, that's going to make it a lot easier for the viewers to see. However, Mirai and Elendar can actually play this game just fine without the candle. There are tricks to seeing in the dark that work out just fine when you've played the game enough. And bosses, one of the new features is that bosses will be exiting into the rest of the palace instead of exiting outside. All right, so Elendar just up an 8, and he is, after he got a level, it is a good idea to to up an 8 after a level if you can, because you do lose all your experience when you game over, and up an 8 is considered a game over. Right. I think this is a canyon biome? Perhaps. Usually when you see a lot of desert, it can be a dried up canyon biome, but it's not really going in any particular direction, so it's probably vanilla-like. Looks like Mirai has found an item cave on the east. And Elendar has picked up his medicine. That's going to allow him to drop into Mito. Usually you want to go into Mito just once. There are two things you possibly want to get out of Mito. Maybe three. You can go in there for the hint to the item. Obviously Elendar doesn't need to get the hint because he just picked up the item. There can randomly be other hints, though, in the town. And there's a spell to pick up, which Elendar will be picking up next time he's in here. Then there's also Downstab, which is one of the most critical abilities in the game. You need Fairy or Jump to get it. And the ability to use Fairy to get it is actually... I don't know. I don't want to call it new at this point. Oh, yeah, okay. So Mirai definitely is in a dried canyon biome. The river was heading from east to west, and it dried up, and that's why it looks like that. Alright, Elendar going to be picking up this spell here. Most powerful magic? Well, that's definitely required. You need Thunder to defeat Thunderbird, and in this flag set, he is required. I do believe. Let me just check that real quick. Thunderbird is required. Yep, that's part of the flags. Now, if Thunderbird weren't required, he'd be placed anywhere in the palace randomly, which means he could still be required, but the chances are kind of low. So Mirai just picked up the hint for the location of the child. In a maze lies a child, which is the vanilla location, so that's interesting. Yeah, I love killing these Lizalfos right here, like Mirai is doing. They give a lot of experience. However, they're pretty tough. Attack level 3, it takes quite a few hits to get them. Elendar currently looking for hints. Not finding any yet. There's only one hint in each location. Rather, each town. Although the King's Tomb, the American King's Tomb, is also a hint location. One location that can have hints that nobody ever looks is Old Kasuto, and that's because it's a dangerous place to look and it's buried pretty deep. Alright, Alandar picked up fire. And let's take a look at the spells here. Yep. Fire is linked with a random spell, so one of the other 7 spells will be instantly activated when you activate fire. And likewise, if you activate the other spell, you'll get fire. But fire gets cheaper much quicker than a lot of the other spells. And it can go down pretty cheap to, like, I think as low as 8 magic, but it usually doesn't get that cheap. But that's why you want Fire Link Thunder, as people were calling for in chat. Oh. Well, I feel a bit foolish. Mirai just cast fire. So he probably knows what fire's linked to, and I'm just the one in the dark here, unfortunately. Sorry. Sort of started. I wasn't able to watch for the first couple minutes, so that's why I'm a little bit ignorant. And if we got some people in chat who know less about Zelda 2, then we're in this boat together. I'll know the stuff about Zelda 2, and you can know the stuff about the first 5 or 6 minutes of the race. How about that? How's that work out? Alright, Mirai picking up another heart container. Now, those are usually not what the racers are looking for. At the level that we're talking about, that these players are playing at... Oh, that's a cool-looking cove right there in this dry canyon. The level these players are... Oh, glove. That's a huge, huge get for Alandar. I found the glove on the desert tile in the east. And looks like Raft brought you to Maze Island. Raft brought you to Death Mountain, and Death Mountain brings you to Maze Island super quick, so that's interesting. You might actually need boots to be able to explore more of Death Mountain from there. There could be another location, though. However, sometimes they're blocked off, or there are fewer entrances. Oh, good. The tracker doesn't show him as having the glove, but if he picked it up, that would be good for him. Glove is one of the most useful and important things in the game. Unlike Thunder, like, you don't the game doesn't always need you to have Thunder with this flag set. However, we're talking like 99.9% you need the glove. It's kind of like having the ladder in Zelda 1, except even more so. And Mirai is trying to get this blue Lizalfos. They can be worth up to 500 experience, so I don't blame him. His attack level is a little low to be grinding Lizalfos this often, but hopefully he picks it up with this level. Yeah, 700. Wow. Okay. Can be up to 700 then. That's rolling up as far as it can, as far as I know. I think the max experience you can get is 1,000. I don't think there's a 2,000. Alright, now we got Alandar and Mito. He's going to be... Let's see. Does he have Fairy? Oh, there's no spot in the tracker for Fairy, so I'm not sure if he has Fairy. And he doesn't have... As far as I know, he doesn't have Jump. We'll find out in just a moment, though. Doesn't look like it. So he's just going to be picking up the spell here. He's probably hoping. Probably hoping for Fairy or Jump. Yeah, the sky is purple in Darunia, Dark Kid. Mm-hmm. The Dark Grid, sorry. Alright, yeah, that's exactly what Alandar was looking for. Picking up Jump inside Mito, which means he's going to get down stab. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that 1,000 points is the limit for P-Bags. Mm-hmm. But you never know what Dig Shake's up to at any given time, so... Alright, and it looks like we got P5 in Maze Island here. Now, a lot of racers don't like doing P5 just because it's a nightmare for people. But it's very large. It's one of the largest palaces in the game. And it can have, a lot of difficult enemies. And the boss of it is actually one of the harder ones in the game. He's got a very simple attack pattern, but you can't get off rhythm with him. Otherwise, he will hit you like a truck. Like, At this point, with life 4, Mirai could probably take 2 hits, maybe 3. Well, I guess he would be dead in 2 hits, maybe 3, I guess is the way I should say it. Alright, looks like Elendar has sort of lost track of some of the caves he's been to. It can be very easy to do so. Or maybe he just stepped into there to reset the encounters. When you go into a location on the overworld, like, well, any location, but towns, small item locations, large item locations, caves, etc., palaces, it resets the enemy spawning. So oftentimes you jump into these locations and then immediately exit just so that you can keep enemies spawning, because if you get into a random encounter, it puts you in the center of that screen. It takes a lot less time to fight through enemies or avoid enemies and then go from the center of the screen to the edge of the screen than it does to like go tiny bit off course and then back out of the location you just entered. So that's why you often see racers going into palaces and then immediately exiting. Yeah, P5 is hated. I don't hate. Oh wow, yeah. Mirai is definitely taking the opportunity to fight these blue Lysselfos. I'm gonna guess he might actually specifically try to track down more encounter locations so that he can get another blue Lysselfos and maybe 2 more and get attack 5. Attack 5 is a very comfortable place to be. There are 2 item locations and there it is. Yeah, he was looking for the child. I believe he got the hint for that. Yeah, he did go into Darunia and got the hint for it. So he's got it now. Meanwhile, Elendar is looking in Valley of Death, and you see him waiting because he's trying to do an encounter skip. If he had Fairy, he could do Fairy Feet to get through these encounters. It's a little trick to automatically exit from the right side of the screen, even though you enter on the left, or vice versa. Oh, and Fairy would have come in handy right then too. However, yeah, he doesn't have it, so you can't do Fairy Feet. One thing you can do is you can force a random encounter instead of doing the forced encounter. Well, I guess I could have worded that a little bit better. You can make the game give you a random encounter, which he just succeeded in doing. You see, he's on this forest location, despite being in lava. That's because the game is, with its current flags, it's randomizing what random encounter location you get while on what type of tile. That's a flag that can be turned on and off, so you always get lava on lava tiles, you always get forest on forest tiles. But for Eleanor, that's really a thing, because I mean, the forest tiles are super duper easy, and the lava tiles are super duper hard. There he goes. There he goes. He gets another encounter skip there, so he's going to be getting through into that cave. Once he passes through here, I'm assuming it's going to bring him to the next palace he's going to attempt to get to. I don't think he's necessarily ready for a palace, so he doesn't have Fairy, and he doesn't have a magic key. However, some of these Valley of Deaths can have pass-through caves, so you can exit through the opposite side. And Mirai is going to be picking up his spell from Darunia here, now that he's got the child in tow. Alright, well, that's Fairy. Oh my gosh, Elendar. Elendar desperately tried to get through Valley of Death. However, at the end of the day, he was faced with a palace and he didn't want to try it. I think if you've gone that far, I didn't see what kind of palace it was. I'm sorry. I should have been paying a little bit closer attention. However, if it was Palace 1, it's still possible to do short palaces fairly time effectively, even if you don't have a key or a way through doors, like the fairy spell. You can find fairies. Speaking of fairies, Mirai is using his fairy in Darunia to pick up Upstab. It's very convenient, isn't it? You get jump in the town in Mito to get downstab, or you can get fairy to get upstab in the town that you get fairy. So that's interesting. Yeah, it's a pretty expensive fairy. However, he's only at magic level 3, and he has not picked up any extra magic containers. He's got 4 magic containers right now. Each of those, by the way, for anyone who's not in the know, There is 1 unit of magic per pixel of that box. So the box is 16 pixels wide. It's a 16 by 16 pixel box. So yeah, every one of those magic containers contains 16 points of magic. And so when you look at the spell cost on the select screen, it'll tell you how much the spells cost, and you can work it out from there, like if you have enough. Without knowing that, it can be difficult as a new racer or as a viewer to know if someone has enough magic or not. All right, Mariah's going to want to get one of these guys because he wants to get that attack level 5. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Now, I'm just feeling really bad for Elendar here because he's gone this far. He went that far into Valley of Death, which was a huge time sink, and he was rewarded with a palace. I mean, what do you expect to be at the end of VOD other than a palace? But he didn't want to do it. And I don't blame him because he wasn't really ready. If it was P1, yeah, maybe could have done it, but most of the other palaces is just not practical. And you can run into glove blocks in any palace with these flags, but, I mean, they have a glove, so that's not a big deal. Yeah, if it was P4, I can understand dropping out too, because... Oh, wow, there we go. Mariah has picked up the magic key. That's a big get. Now, he can start doing palaces as he comes across them if he wants. No reflect, so as Dark Red was saying, if they run across P4, they won't be able to defeat the boss. So they might nope out of it for that. Alright, Mariah is figuring out whether it wants to go in here or not. Go west to find the raft. Well, they have a raft, so not super useful. Well, that's weird. So we got both sides of Saria, and right next to Saria there's another town. I think it's just both ends of Saria, because you can get that in a dried canyon biome. You can get like 2 ends of Saria because they were formerly connected with a bridge across a river. And then the river dries up and, the towns are still there. But, you can just walk from one to the other. But there was actually just another town right next to it. It's funny. Mariah does pick up a magic container. That's a very good thing to pick up right there. Considering he's already gotten the spell out of Darunia, we know, without even having to look at the flags, that magic container requirements flag is turned off, which means you don't need a certain number of magic containers to pick up spells from certain towns. However, yeah, I mean, he's got it, so unfortunately that wasn't very useful for him. He did find the Medicine Cave, which is the most difficult cave, probably, on the west continent at least, so he's going to be getting a fresh new item here. Old lady, yeah. Old lady can be blocking an item, and so, well, she's always blocking an item, but it's not always useful. Alright, Mariah picking up life 5 in order to get his life back. When you get a life spell, it refills all your life. When you get a magic spell, it refills all your magic. It's a very useful thing. That way, he doesn't have to take a death the next time he gets touched by anything. Mariah kind of plays the way I do, though, and so he doesn't like to get his life too high until the end because it makes it difficult to actually do a death abuse. Elendar is heading into P4. Elendar, if the tracker's correct, you don't have reflect. Elendar, buddy. I mean, the only reason he'd be coming in here is to get the item out of the palace, but I mean, they've got, like, every critical item, don't they? I mean, they could need the flute, the horn, whatever you want to call it. They could need... Okay. What could be happening, and I haven't seen the first 6 minutes, and so I don't know, but they could have gotten... in the town that has Reflect, they could need a certain spell item to get that, in which case you'd have to double dip P4. Mirai just got Reflect though out of Rudo, so and he hasn't been into P4 though, so we know that that's not actually the case. So Elendar, unless he has he has a trophy, so he could have turned it in and we just missed it. All right. And we're close to having a little bit of a handshake here for Mirai and Elendar. And in Elendar's side, we haven't really visited palaces too much so far. You might, if you played the classic Zelda 2, you might be like, what is going on? What is this room that Elendar is in? Well, and that's because Zelda 2 Randomizer... Gosh, using jump on here did not do Elendar any favors. Zelda 2 Randomizer includes a number of rooms that were made by the community. Some of these rooms are from other Zelda 2 ROM hacks that have been inserted into the game with permission from the original ROM hack developers, and others were created just for Zelda 2 Randomizer by various people in the community. And so you'll see strange rooms with the randomizer, things you will see other places. First one to understand what that was a reference to gets a free cookie. Actually, I just have Halloween candy, so it's gonna be Halloween candy. I'm watching chat to see if anyone gets it. Ah, good, Elharm. Good. You get my Halloween candy then. If I had cookies, I'd give you a cookie too. Yeah, the thing is, we were playing Zelda 2 Randomizer for a long time, and at some point we were like, yeah, we need more variety. And so Dig Shake was happy to put in a function into the randomizer to insert new rooms into the palaces, and to also mix and match rooms from palaces that already were in the game. So it's about as random as it can get now. Yeah, well, you see, I got my Halloween candy really early for a very strange reason, and it was in my car a little while, so some of the candy melted, and I've got to get rid of that, right? And I'll get more candy eventually. All right, Mirai's close to another level. I'm assuming if he gets close to his magic level, he's going to get that. I don't know if he's going to get a life spell. He's probably perfectly willing to sacrifice a life because he's very close to dying here. And he does. If he had killed that Doom Knocker, he would have gotten enough experience to level up his whatever's next. Probably magic. It could be life 6, though. Oh, you didn't want magic. Okay. Alright, Elendar has found our boy Karok, the joke boss that the developers put in this game. And it turns out he had Reflect all along, guys. By the way, you might notice that the colors are a little bit different between the two racers. There's no flag for just like random whatever you want colors, because the color of the palace actually can make things more or less difficult depending on how much of a migraine the colors give you. But the way certain NES game players interpret colors can be a little bit different. Oh, really? Okay, Irene, I didn't know that. I was about to say, like, does that mean you don't like candy? Now, I don't like candy a huge amount, but Halloween candy includes chocolate, and to me, chocolate is not candy, because to make candy, you candy it, and you don't candy chocolate. unless you make candy chocolate, in which case you do candy chocolate. Okay, this is a short enough palace here. We got P3 over and done with on Elendar's side. There are other Wizrobe-like things, unfortunately. Zelda 2 has some weird names for enemies, and only a few have made returns in other games. For instance, the slimes that you would consider to be chews are actually called bots. However, the Iron Knuckles, the knights are called Iron Knuckles. So there's that. Mirai is looking for the item in P4. A little surprising here. So he's actually falling behind in terms of completion, because Elendar just completed P3. If he knows that there's a critical item here, though, definitely worth his while to pick it out. But most likely, it's going to be a magic container or the cross, both of which are kind of worthless. I mean, a magic container is nice, especially if you want to get that item out underneath the pseudo. Oh, well, he has fairy. He can recover from this. Yeah, you can set the randomizer to have a random number of gems that need to be turned into the palaces. So there will still be 6 palaces plus the Northern Palace, which is where we start, and the Great Palace or the Grand Palace or whatever it's called at the end. So a total of 8. But if you set certain flags in the randomizer, you do have a very high chance of playing less than 6 palaces, and you can just take your pick at that point. Garu and Daira. Yeah, the Daira is kind of like a Dinophos. I like the word Daira though. Oh my gosh, Mirai. Yeah, he gambled that time, and he lost. So what was actually in that palace was a pea bag, which you can't even pick up as a fairy. So even if he was close to the next level, you couldn't get it. Yeah, Stallfos are pretty consistent. So the Garu are the Lizalfos. I just call them Lizalfos because I don't remember all the enemy names in Zelda 2. Alright, that's yet another palace done for Elendar. So despite seeming to fall behind Mirai earlier on, it seems like he actually technically has a lead right now. It's not Daria. I know for a fact that it's not an MTV show. I just considered something, guys. When the interview comes up, there's gonna be feedback. Unless I go to my car while doing this and get my headphones out. I think I might do that. You guys want to go into the forest with me? Alright. Yeah, the Zora is yeah, you're right, Irene. Zora is weird in this game. It's like, in every game, the Zora is at least a water creature, but in this game, you pretty much exclusively see them in deserts. Or like mountains and stuff, and they're crawling around on the ground. It's real weird. Alright, another boss down for Elendar. He's not quite done yet, but he will be. Like, Helmet Head's not too hard. At low levels, he can be tough, because his helmet's fireballs actually do a lot of... No, sorry. The main body's fireballs do a lot of damage. Yeah, this is a weird point in the downfall timeline. Very true. Oh, this is the end of the timeline, though. Except for, like, Breath of the Wild, which was, like, This game takes place 100 billion trillion years in the future. That's like the one thing about Breath of the Wild I didn't like. It was like, it's just like a million bajillion years away. That's Chrysalis. Well, and Chrysalis is after 1999? Or is it 1994? I think it's 99, right? Speaking of Chrysalis, everyone is using the default Link sprites. I'm a little disappointed nobody used my Chrysalis sprite. Come on, guys. It turned out good. Use it. Yeah, almost all the Zelda games do take place in a new age. However, none of them say that they're like a trillion years in the future, so I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me. Hyrule. Oh my gosh, Mirai. No. What is he looking for? He keeps looking for items. Does he want the flute? Is the palace flute blocked? Oh yeah, we did see Three-Eyed Rock, so they do need the flute. That's what he's looking for, probably. Yeah. Alright, Mirai is heading into Palace 1. This should be pretty quick and easy. Elendar is in Darunia and is on his way out. I didn't see if he picked up Downstab. Alright. I won't be able to see the chat for a second because I gotta go get my earbuds. Otherwise, yeah, when the interview comes up, it's not gonna be great. Alright, well this is P1 that Mirai is in right now. So, nice and easy. This will be done pretty soon. And Elendar is re-attempting Valley of Death. Did it much faster. His magic is almost completely drained. So I'm assuming he fairy feeded across because I barely even saw him in Valley of Death here. Alright, still some of these same custom rooms we've seen before. Won't be long until Mirai is toward the end of the palace. And here it is, the palace that burned him before. This is P6. Or you can see Volvagia, known in this as Barba. I like some of these some of these exterior rooms that we have in the custom room set. And if you're new to Zelda 2 Randomizer, yeah, it might be wild to see rooms that are outside of the palaces in the palaces. Hopefully we'll see more of that the next time there's a room jam, which is what Digshake called the competition to make rooms for this randomizer. All right. There it is. That's what he was looking for. Picked up the flute. It's crazy that he looked through so many palaces to find that. However, he's got that, and Elendar, as far as I know, doesn't. So Elendar's going to be kind of in a bit of a pickle in a few minutes. Without that flute, or horn, or whatever you want to call it, you know, toilet plunger, he's not going to be able to get into the last palace. Alright, Elendar picking up the item from P6 here. Just a heart. Alright, Mirai picking up the jump spell. You might be wondering what use the jump spell is to him now that he has Fairy, but it's actually very useful in GP. Alright. So, P6 is a bit of a doozy. And Elendar is still searching for Barba here. I don't think he's going to search for the item because he hasn't looked for the items really in the other palaces, which are much shorter. I hope he does the quick kill on Barba. It's really fun. It's called the Jackhammer, and you basically cast a jump spell and just mash down on the D-pad until everything dies. Because the down stab activates like in the next frame, so really you can get as many hits as you can press down. Of course, that might not technically be true because when you do a down stab, it does bump you up, which will eventually bump you away from enemies. However, when you have low ceilings, like you see in a lot of these palace rooms, you can actually sort of wedge yourself between the enemy that you're above and the roof that you're below, and just mash like crazy. And that's a great way of taking on Iron Knuckles. It's one of my favorite things to do, really. It's good against most enemies. Yeah, a loose mythological connection is good. I just don't like the whole 10,000 year thing, but everything else about Breath of the Wild is fantastic. Well, except for the food system. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah, there are a lot of reboots. Zelda is effectively a reboot, right? Every time there's a new one that comes out. Well, I guess that's not true. There are connections, and Zelda 1 and Zelda 2 are back-to-back, and so are the Oracle games and Link's Awakening, and some other game, and it depends. What other game comes before Link's Awakening really depends on, what Nintendo feels like saying at that time. Because they've changed it a bunch of times. Originally, it was supposed to be after Link's Awakening, but A Link to the Past, but I don't think it's that way anymore. Yeah, Fairy is a super duper useful spell. Sometimes you can't get to you can't cast it in time, It just works out that way sometimes. Oh gosh, Mirai having a very ugly boss Kuma fight, but it should be good enough. And he's not going to be looking for any more items because he doesn't need them. It's possible for the hammer to be required for completion. It can work out that way. I have seen instances where, like, you're in Death Mountain and the hammer, the boulder that's supposed to hammer block you from an item is also hammer blocking you from a pasture cave. And I think there can be hammer blocked pasture caves depending on the flags. But yeah, we haven't seen anything like that, so he definitely doesn't need the hammer at this point. So he's completely good on items, and there he goes. He finds one that he's already been to. Eleanor are using jump strats on Barba, but not using the quick kill. That is a bit unfortunate. He's only getting a couple hits per cycle. I guess that time he got about 5 or 6. That's pretty good, but with downstabbing, you can one cycle if you jackhammer. It's pretty dangerous though. That's why I like to do it, but it is dangerous. Huh. Tutnuk and Arnuk. Huh. Do tartnucks taste tart? Alright, Mirai fairy feeding through that encounter in Valley of Death. So he's going to be taking on P6 in just a moment. That'll be his last palace, but meanwhile, Elendar, he can't get into P5. I don't think. Unless it's a GP that's flute blocked. So where's he going to start looking for this this flute? That's the question. I'm going to try something real quick, guys. Excuse me if this doesn't work. Alright. Okay. Didn't work, but I don't think it caused any craziness, though. You guys can still hear me, right? I'm getting used to doing this from my phone. Oh, could you guys not hear me when I tried something and I was a little worried that you guys couldn't hear me. Alright. Cool. Just trying to figure out a way to get the volume to go to this earbud. Good. I'm glad. Well, thanks, Irene. I never liked my voice all that much, but I'm glad other people do. Alright, that's the gem place. It's for Elendar. Oh, wait. Hold on. That was Boss Guma? Yeah, that was a different palace. So wait, is GP blocked? What? I saw Thread Rock. Oh, that's right. Thread Rock doesn't necessarily block a palace anymore. Oh boy. Sorry, I haven't really played much of the randomizer since the new version, and kind of forgot Thread Rock can block something other than a palace now. So actually, it looks like Mirai's the one who's in trouble. Well, I am very honorable, thank you. I got my honor straight from Klingons and ninjas. Wait. Maybe not the ninjas. I wanted to say samurai, and then I was like, maybe not. Alright, Eleanor already kind of exploring GP. That was fast. That was some good routing to get here really quick. So, yeah, Mirai's in trouble. Looking for that horn. Yeah, set him back. I wonder if he made the same mistake as I. Oh gosh, we have an early Thunderbird. That is interesting. That could give Mirai a chance to make a comeback here. Oh no. You can't really mess up in the room that Mirai was just in because there are blocks on both sides. So even if you recover with Fairy, you have to try again because you can't. Oh, well, here we go. Because you can't actually beat a block when you're Fairy. All right. Well, very clean fight from Eldar so far. You know, attack 5 is about what most runners are comfortable doing Thunderbird with. 4 is okay. Below that is pretty bad. Having a... Oh, gosh. Yeah, Mirai's just not doing well in this room. Yeah, actually, I was a bit of a dork when I made my screen name, so... Oh, what? What? How is GP already over? Yeah, that's what I was going for. Dark Rid and Irene, cross between that X-Men and a Knight. When I was like, I don't know, 10 or 9 or something. Wow, Eleanor must have taken the perfect route because, yeah, he got in. He fought the bird, and immediately after that was Darklink. It was faster than P1. Well, guys, get your GGs in chats. Eleanor won. And this is a pretty convincing win, unfortunately. Mirai, I see shaking his head. I do like a close race, and that's the only reason I say unfortunate. But, you know, it is what it is. And when Elendar gets in here, I'm going to go back to my computer for the interview. Because I can't hear anything through these earbuds right now. So I might not be able to help with commentating the race anymore, but Mirai hopefully will finish quickly. The problem with GPs like that is that they can be super fast or they can actually take quite a while. So depending on, you know, the choices that Mirai makes, you know, we're going to see a big difference in times. Hopefully Mirai makes the same choices. And thank you for putting those GGs in there, you know. I wonder if people spend enough time in these races, if like their G key on their keyboard will wear out. That's a reasonable concern, right? Twitch is actually trying to which is collating with different keyboard manufacturers because it's trying to wear out your G keys. Just oh boy. All right, well, I think Mirai made the correct decision, taking that early drop. Now, in this sort of situation, you try to take an early drop because you haven't seen... When you take an early drop, it can't possibly have been wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you take a drop late, it can put you behind where you've already been, right? So if you take it like in the first or second room, then it can only possibly put you back like 1 or 2 rooms. And then you can eliminate it as a possibility. And that's why you see racers like 100% of the time taking these early drops instead of continuing to move right. Nebraska. Nice. I appreciate that. Nebraska, don't ask. I won't. Yeah. Zelda 2 is a very execution-heavy game to be randomized because the combat requires a lot of skill. However, it actually is a lot of fun. So if you play Zelda 2 like maybe twice, you'll start to see the fun in the combat. It's very fluid, and most of the fights have multiple ways to actually go about defeating the enemies, both for most bosses and most enemies. In fact, in Randomizer, you can do things like cast thunder on the guineas or the ghost enemies, the wizard enemies that you normally can't defeat. And you normally wouldn't see that in a Zelda 2 game of vanilla, but it just goes to show how versatile Zelda 2 is. And you can see that in the Randomizer. Well, GG Mirai. And let's get some GGs in here for him, too. He put up a good fight. Wear out that keyboard. Triforce is whole. Princess Zelda is woken up, but it's not the same Princess Zelda as in Zelda 1. So this Link is a bit of a player. In case you didn't notice from him walking into every woman's room, every woman's house in Hyrule. Oh, sorry. I was so used to streaming on my phone that when I switched to my computer, I forgot I have push to talk. Hey, Eleanor, GG.
Hey, GG. I have to admit, I felt like I played the beginning so badly. I felt like I was way behind. I just started put my foot on the gas, and then when I saw Level Engine finish in 48 minutes, I was like, "Oh, something is off here."
Yeah, that GP, huh? How about that GP?
It's a gold split, so.
Wow. Yeah, I guess that's one of the shortest GPs you could really have. I mean, it could be one room shorter, I think, but not much.
Yeah, the only thing that was a little tiny bit slow was with the community rooms figuring. I have a terrible time figuring out which end of the L7 the drop is in. But that was the reverse L7, so I was checking slightly in the wrong spot.
Well, we got Mariah in chat now too. Yeah, GG2 as well. Unfortunately, you did get beaten out by Elendar by a couple minutes here. I think the thing was looking for the flute. Were you doing that to try to uncover a palace or something?
Yeah, I obviously forgot that there were two palaces that I had already seen, and there I am looking for the flute like a dummy.
I was there with you. I was like, I forgot that the flags can be set so that just random stuff is under the Three-Eyed Rock location and not a palace. Because I haven't played too much of the new version, so I was like, oh man, Elendar is the palace ahead, but Mirai, he's got the flute, so what's Elendar gonna do? And then I see Elendar like in GP, and I'm like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah, that P4 man did a full clear of P4, wasted a bunch of time in there, and then dug the item out of P3 as well, and then finally in P1 found the flute, and I didn't have to do any of that, and that was definitely a faster seed than it would have been for sure. Really disappointed in that because now I owe Elendar $10. So
Mariah would say he wanted a re-race. What's funny is the last time we were on the stream together, I think it was another jet seed. It was very similar times.
Yeah, and I probably looked for the flute unnecessarily in that one as well. I'm pretty good at that.
I think last time there was a coin flip, and it was like Death Mountain versus 5, and I flipped correctly. But yeah, I missed the raft tile in the beginning.
And
And
that
so-
led to Death Mountain, right?
Yeah, and I knew I had cleared everything. And I was pretty certain, like, I that the west was blocked, and I knew what biome the east was, and I'm like, I have no progress here. And I actually went into Death Valley thinking maybe it's like the world's weirdest looking volcano biome, looking for a pass through there, and there wasn't. And I'm like, oh no, I've wasted 5 minutes of time in this murderer's row of a race. And
Yeah. I was watching that, so that's where it came from. Unfortunately, as the I did miss the first couple of minutes of the race through some little bit of shenanigans, but I saw you doing VOD, and I was like, I guess he thinks that there's a pass through here, and I didn't know if there was or wasn't. You were the first person in a VOD, so yeah.
Yeah, I just missed the raft tile, and then when I found it and it was like in plain sight, I was like, this is a problem. But
it didn't hold you back too much, even though it was a waste of about 2 or 3 minutes. You didn't have fairy yet, so
yeah, I had the hint though for the child at that point. So I basically knew right away, once I found the way forward, it was just going to be, it was either going to be Maze Island leading to Death Valley, or Maze Island into Death Mountain, in which case I just need Maze Island, or Death Mountain into Maze Island, in which case I can hope it was quick, and it turned out to be immediate.
Very much so.
And then once I got the kid, it was just like, okay, well, we know how to put all this together now.
Yeah, the race would have felt very different if you had to dig through Death Mountain to actually find the entrance to Maze Island, but it was just right there, first cave.
Yeah, and then the other entrance to the west was like just a little bit further down the coast. You didn't really have to do anything.
Yeah. Well, it was still a very fun race to watch, I got to tell you both. It's always great to to be able to stream on different platforms and get some new people watching. So, overall, like, if there's any new people watching Zelda 2, what do you think you got to tell them about this wonderful game here?
I'm gonna let Elendar go first here.
Mariah's the one with all the guides and useful tools and stuff. It's a great resource for the community. But yeah, I don't know. Zelda, I've played a number of randomizers, and Zelda 2 still remains my favorite. It's got great combat. The overworld randomizer makes it so you're always finding something new, and it's great to pick up.
Yeah, it can be. So yeah, I'll tack on to the end of that and say it's a lot of fun. It's super frustrating in the beginning because you're going to watch better runners in these races, and it looks like they're just cruising, just effortlessly with combat and everything related to combat. And you're going to get into this game, you're going to fire it up, and you're going to notice that Link weighs 4 tons, and you can't do anything with him, and you can't be nearly as fancy as any of these veteran runners. And it takes a good bit of time to understand combat, but once you do, it is incredibly rewarding to just cut through things very easily and understand how it all works and be able to memorize these rooms and know your way through each of these palaces. And it's a puzzle every single time that tickles the brain and stimulates it to that effect. If you want like a long puzzle, this probably isn't the game, but if you want a nice short shot of dopamine, a short puzzle, few items to find necessary to finish the seed usually, this is the game. It's a lot of fun. It's very rewarding, especially the times that you don't forget that there are 2 open palaces on the east, and then you think about how you could get a 50-minute seed and you screwed up, but it happens. And regardless, it's still a very fun game, and we do plenty of casual races all the time in the Z2R Discord. There's plenty of resources around for the most part, and more will be coming for sure. We've got to this SGL tournament coming up, and then after that, we've got Max Rando, which is probably not the friendliest newcomer tournament, but I mean, it's worth just diving into the deep end of the pool if you want a shot at that. That's probably going to be coming up early next year, at the start of next year. So Yeah, again, a great game. It's the only randomizer I run. I've absolutely in love with it. I don't even play the vanilla game. It's all rando. Just throw me in the Thunderdome and I'm ready to go. That's where I live. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. And yeah, everyone should be playing Z2R for sure.
Yeah, I think it should be, you get a tax write-off if you play Zelda 2 Randomizer. That'd be good. Let's see. Yeah, and if you want to contribute in other ways, I'm sure if you make a room with a Z2 edit or something, it'd get inserted into the next version of the game or something like that.
That's very, very true. I mean, not to cut you off or anything, but I mean, it's like, the community for Z2R, our randomizer does so much for the vanilla game and changes so much about it. And there's so many switches and knobs to play with, although there's a good amount of foundational flags that we all kind of just play with. But at the same point in time, I mean, the community came together and they put together a whole bunch of custom rooms. I don't know if this is the only Zelda with that. I would imagine it's not the only Zelda with that, but some of the other like 3D Zeldas and whatnot are probably a little bit more difficult to make custom rooms for and things like that. But in terms of 2D or at least 2.5D Zelda games, we've got a ton of custom community rooms. I think there's over twice as many community rooms that we've now implemented into the randomizer versus what the vanilla game has. So if you've played the vanilla game, you find it maybe it's not your thing, maybe it's a little boring. The randomizer turns a lot of that on its head for sure. And yeah, I mean, we get new people coming all the time. Some of them stick around, some of them don't. Again, it's tough to get into, but once you start bringing your times down, once you start playing more seeds, once you start memorizing kind of the layouts and the way that the game generally works, and again, understanding combat and how to use it and how to make it flow nicely, your times start coming down. Everything's much more rewarding. You start competing with people, especially when you don't forget there are 2 palaces already open on the east. That's all I have to say about that.
I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, when I first started playing, I was just playing. The only reason I was streaming it is because my friend wanted to see it, and the Zelda 2 randomizer community was very welcoming. Despite people like dropped into my channel, like watched me play a little bit, and eventually I started playing a few games, and nobody's gonna make fun of you if you don't finish like quickly or anything like that. They'll just give you tips if you want it. Like Elendar, what do you think the biggest mistake in this last race you made was, other than what we already talked about? Anything?
I mean, other than not finding the raft tile the first time around. I mean, I had that death in Magic Container Cave. I game over to Magic Container Cave right off the bat. That cost me a minute, but
oh yeah.
I probably could have routed through 4 a little better. 4 was kind of a maze. Did you have issues with 4, Mirai?
I mean, yeah, I full cleared it for the stupid item. That's an issue I had. It was only a pee bag. It was literally the first left you could take on the first elevator was immediately to the item room, and I dug everything else prior to that. So that was a huge letdown. But no, it wasn't Rebanak. Rebanak was like right in the front, wasn't he?
Was it? I don't remember. One of the most of the dungeons I did real quick, and then one of them I had like a ridiculous time on.
Well, like, six was a bit of a dig, and Jay Coper's talking about that now in the race room, about how we had that room, the double glove blocked room on each side, where I had problems with it. You've got the double heads, you've got the sine wave raw heads, and you've got the wolf heads in there, the square wave heads, and both of them together are incredibly punishing if you just cannot get the right pattern, or you cannot get them to spawn in a friendly way. And trying to get across that, not you wouldn't have seen that, but the audience would have seen that, and I had to ferry a few times to just go backwards so that I could reset the room. And Jay Coper's talking about that now. He's not happy with that room, I don't think.
I really like that room. It's definitely very, very challenging.
Yeah, it's very challenging. It's perhaps one of the most frustrating rooms there are. Some people don't like the triple dripper. I love the triple dripper room, but that double glove block is fine. The double heads in there, very, very punishing.
Yeah, I like it for 2 reasons. One is that it really rewards you for manipulating the movement direction on the heads. It's much easier when they're behind you instead of when they're in front of you. And the other, and this is a bit of a quirky reason, is it really rewards you for having the fire spell. There's very few rooms
That's a
that
good call.
let
I
you do
had
that.
fire. Son of a bee. That's very true. I didn't create a firewall. Yeah.
I didn't cast fire, but I often do with those kind of. I think I might have been low on magic when I went through. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because the first time I had to ferry out because I did fall in the first pit once, but
That's kind of one of those things where that's really cool about the randomizer is you encounter situations, despite the limited number of resources that are in Zelda 2, you run into situations that you just don't see in vanilla, like making that firewall to get across the triple tripper room. You don't really see many rooms like that in vanilla.
That's funny you say that. They just linked something in the Z2 Speedruns Discord the other day about creating a firewall in GP to take care of the raw heads. And there was a room, and then someone made a comment about how you can't do that in the randomizer. And I'm thinking to myself, yes, you can. You definitely can. There's heads all over the place in the randomizer. So that was kind of funny. I kept it to myself. I didn't want to create like a rando versus vanilla debate because I'm in it's not my territory.
I haven't played vanilla in a while, but I used to run all keys, and it is also very fun. Definitely a different experience, but
one of the most interesting things that you can do if you mess around with the level editor is like if you put the falling blocks over a pit or lava or something, they bounce back up when they get to the bottom.
Oh, really?
I've seen that in there's some Z2 hacks that have blocks that fall into the lava like that. Yeah.
We should make a community room out of it.
It's just so random. That's the problem. Like you never know where the blocks are gonna fall, and so that's the difficulty with it. You're like, well, it can be a super easy room or a super hard room, and like if you're near the top of the screen, like you jump and you just get hit by a block and you fall in the pit or whatever. It has potential, but
yeah.
So anything else you guys are up to this week, Elendar? How many more races are you gonna be doing? How many more times are you gonna beat Mirai here?
This is
okay. Go ahead.
This might be my last qualifier I do. I've been really jamming the new Path of Exile League, so if Mirai really wants me to, I could come and beat him another one.
I mean, there's another, there's our weekly on Tuesday,
I mean, I gotta be there for the weekly. That's just important.
Unfortunately, though, we're probably not going to be restreamed because they just kind of toss it around at random, and I don't want to hog it all up. I didn't get restreamed last week though, so maybe I'll get restreamed this week. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I was on SGL last week as well. I got the face cam. Hopefully, the face cam was keeping people happy for a while until I just realized that there's 2 open palaces on the east, and you didn't need the flute. So yeah, until that, and then I just started shaking my head. I knew it was over because we're going back to the seed now. I knew it was over because I wasted so much time in P4 and P3 and P1, and I didn't need to do any of that. And man, freaking Level Engine beat me by 8 minutes. And I would say, if I was on that pace, I think that seed was mine. It was my seed to lose, and I lost it to Elendar because I didn't notice there were 2 parallel. I didn't remember. I'm pretty sure I walked into that palace though. Didn't remember there were 2 palaces there. So unbelievable. I saw the forest tile as well. I'm thinking to myself, flute or hammer. What are we doing? And it's P bag in P4, P bag in P3, something like that. And then it was flute in P1. I was like, oh, score. But no score, 0 score, negative score at that point.
I marked the Hammer Forest and 3-Eyed Rock on my tracker, like on my map, and then I'm like, wait a second, I don't need any of this. Like, I already know where everything is.
Yeah, it's like we're cruising so fast. It was a pretty quick seed. I mean, things were pretty open. And it just, I mean, as I found, I mean, I did find everything when I first stumbled upon it, and I was done with everything on the east side of the west, everything in the east. And then I think I was through Maze Island 19 minutes in, and I was just like I was leaving Maze Island with the kid to go pick up Fairy, and then it was go time. And then I figured I'd jump back into Death Mountain, try to find the Maze Island Bridge, which obviously we pretty much know it's right on the coast at any point in time. And we started right on the coast, so it was just straight south from the entry point to Death Mountain. And from there, that was the other side of the west. And that's when I just turned everything in, got Thunder as Trophy Thunder. And, or I was Trophy Reflect. right next to P4. And then I started digging palaces. And man, I could have just hit P4. Man, so disappointing. Great game, not to deter anyone. Phenomenal randomizer for Zelda 2. But man, when you are speeding through it, I've even got a tracker though, but it's not like a map tracker. I just have to keep all that information in my head. And obviously tonight, some of that left my head. So yeah.
But all things considered, Elendar does have a lot of experience over you. Like, he's been playing the game for 4 or 5, 100 years or something, and you just started this year, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, I got 300 seeds under my belt. I started 6.5, 7. It's 7 months ago, somewhere maybe April. I might have started early April, something like that, late March or early April. So 6.5.
I've been playing for
months.
A few years. If you've got 600 seeds, you're probably
300,
the saver
300.
more than me. Okay, 300. I was gonna say I probably only get in 75 or 80 seeds a year. So
yeah, just keep twisting that knife. I get it. You won. You've got less experience. Do better. I understand. It's fine. The $10 is in the mail. The check is in the mail, Elendar. All right.
Well, that was sort of my transition in saying, Mirai has gotten really good over the short time he's played. So if you're wondering about playing Zelda 2 Randomizer, just look at Mirai as an example. You might not be able to beat Elendar, but you can beat a lot of other people. And he
don't mean to twist the knife.
And you can also follow Mirai's resources that he has. He's got some good stuff on YouTube, like tricks and tips and tricks, as it were.
There's a lot more coming. As I said, there's plans for more resources, because again, getting into Z2 is a little unforgiving with that combat thing. I think there needs to really just be kind of a beginner basic understanding combat and what you can do and how to do it. And then it comes down to your choice of the way that you play it, emulator or hardware, your input device and all that hullabaloo. You need to figure all that out. But I want to put a video out there that shows all the combat stuff, how to do it, instructions and things like that, because that is the most limiting it's the most limiting thing when you first get into this. You just feels terrible as you stab away at things and you just don't know how the better runners do it. And once you get there, it's so rewarding to just slice through things very easily. So yeah,
perfect. I guess we're gonna get going now. I think that was a very good interview that we had, and it was a very fun race to watch. I don't have a button to press to end this thing, but maybe we could I don't know, hum the Zelda 2 theme or something.
Yeah, you start off and we'll join in.
All right. Well, Dark Grid's saying they got a button, so I'm gonna let them press it, and he's got a Vadi avatar, and that's always rad. All right. So thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it, and appreciate the opportunity to come on here and calm and to be able to do that. And I'm sure these racers really appreciate being able to play in front of all you guys. So that's going to be it. I'm going to be logging off, and hopefully next time I'll figure out what some of the technical difficulties were at the beginning and how to avoid them. So have a good one, guys.